Hey guys, John Lee Dumas here, founder and host of EO Fire, and you're listening to Bravepreneur Parents Academy with Bellagio.
Welcome to Bravepreneur Parents Academy, where the world's most inspiring entrepreneurs reveal their most defining childhood moments and share their legacy for raising brave little heroes who will grow up to change the world. And now, he still reads comic books under the blanket at bedtime. Please welcome your host, best-selling author, award-winning speaker, and self-confessed geek dad, Bellagio. You know, like the hotel in Vegas? Yeah, no, that's really his name. Bellagio.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Bravepreneur Parents Academy. Today, we have a pair of dynamic young adults hanging out with us. We've got Riley and Allison from thecouragevibe.com. We had the distinct pleasure of speaking with their parents in an earlier episode, but today we're going to get to hear exactly, or specifically from Allie and Riley. You won't believe some of the adventures that they had traveling across the world. Well, they're back in the U.S. right now, but the fun hasn't stopped. They've been up to some really, really cool entrepreneurial stuff. We're going to get into it all, and so let me get out of the way and have you guys talk to my friends Allie and Riley. Allie, Riley, welcome.
Absolutely wonderful to be had. Thank you so much, Bellagio.
Appreciate you guys being here. So we were talking a little bit prior to starting the call, and I was mentioning to you guys how much I've always wanted to travel across the world, and how a lot of people, kids and grown-ups, want to travel across the world, but a lot of us never really get around to it. It's too expensive, life is too busy, and there's a whole bunch of what-ifs. Is this country safe? Well, where should I go? You guys have lived the dream. You guys have lived the bucket list. So we want to go along on a journey with you, Allison and Riley. Let's start out with this. What year did you guys go on this 24-country trip?
Well, we took off around 2012, I want to say. No, Allie knows the specific date. November 15th, 2012 was the specific day we took off for our 9-month excursion.
That's right. Get it right, big brother.
Absolutely. She's always keeping me in line.
My wife does that to me, too. It doesn't stop, Riley. So, okay, you guys took off November 2012, and how old were you at the time?
Well, Allison was 11, and I was 16 at the time. And so I was a sophomore in high school, to put that into perspective.
Okay. So 11 and 16. Now, my understanding is that you all flew to Australia. That was the first country you went to?
Yes, one-way ticket to Australia.
One-way ticket. Y'all are crazy. One-way ticket to Australia. Okay, paint the picture for us. You guys flew. That's a long flight. So you took the long flight to Australia. You landed. You had a hotel, I assume. You guys stayed there for a few weeks or a few months. How did that work out?
Well, actually, we had a one-way ticket to Australia and one night booked in a hostel just north of Sydney. And so after that, we actually had no intention. We had no clue what we were doing. We were pretty much just showing up and saying, hey, we're here. You know, we've taken the first step, and we're going to let things work their way out accordingly. And that was a consistent theme throughout the whole entirety of the trip. So one night booked and a one-way ticket, and we were in Australia, and we were pinching ourselves. But to be honest, it didn't really sink in until several months in the trip. To be totally honest with you. But it was surreal, and it was a lot of fun, and really showed us what spontaneity and open intention could bring. And that's exactly what we held throughout the whole trip.
Wow, that is amazing. One night stay at a hostel. And from there on out, you guys were just figuring it out as you went. How did you all figure out where to go next? How did you figure out which countries to go to? Did you map it all out from home before you started on the trip?
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't so much of a spontaneous let's do it. And I think you were kind of mentioning this as well. Everyone kind of has that intention to, really put themselves out there. And wow, this would be an incredible trip. But it was a small kind of step-by-step process. The 6 months leading up to the day we left so we made small decisions throughout the whole thing that progressed the trip and progressed us even closer and closer to being ready for that one-way ticket and that 9 months of being gone. And so, yeah, as a family, we actually got it from Ikea, this massive Ikea map in which we would post pins on of just places where we felt we wanted to go. Maybe we saw it on Pinterest. Maybe we saw it in a magazine somewhere. It just intrigued us, and we were drawn towards those locations. And so when we were in these hostels, the funnest part was, because this gave us not only an excuse to meet people, but also mapped our itinerary, was we'd sit in the hostels and we'd kind of open conversation with others and say, hey, we have 2 weeks to be in this region of the world, but we're trying to make our way north, or we're trying to make our way east, or we're trying to wherever the respective direction. And, you know, what would you recommend we do? Have you been up here? Have you been maybe to this island? Have you been to this town? And pretty much we just get the locals' opinions. We get travelers who'd been there prior to us opinion. And that's how we mapped out our itinerary accordingly. And it was the most organic and fun way to do it, because we got other people's flairs. We got to hear other people love to travel. And then that exposed us to new opportunities in which we would have never even considered or even came up with ourselves. And so it was truly a fun and spontaneous way to hit the road.
Wow, that is so cool. Now, one thing that I'm curious about, Allie and Riley, is leaving home. I can imagine that my kids would be really excited to go to a whole bunch of different countries. But for that length of time, we're talking 9 months, did you guys have concerns about missing your friends or missing out on parties or any of that stuff? How did you feel about being away for that long?
Well, Allie, how did you feel about it?
I don't always go through, so I why not?
Yeah. So Allie was doing homeschool. She was in and out of the public school system, and so she was kind of used to, tapping into the social scene and then taking herself out. And so, to be honest, I was kind of the last holdout. I was in public high school as a sophomore. Southridge High School is the local high school we're at over here. And like I said, last holdout, didn't really want to go, but then slowly I just, had one of those days, and I just kept chipping away at me. The consistency was chipping away at me. And the excitement and the nervousness of what I would miss out on if I didn't take that step and I didn't leap, as my mom would say, outweighed any nervousness of the FOMO of not being in Beaverton, Oregon, where we're from. And so the excitement totally outweighed the nervousness. So it was no problem decision for me to just kind of take that step and go for it. But to be honest, there was still some white knuckling happening in terms of wanting to hold on to what I was doing in the past. But no, once I took that leap, there was really no going back, and I don't regret the decision. And it was one of the most incredible decisions as a family we made ever, and it was fantastic and a blessing, a lot of fun.
Okay, so Riley, I have to ask, when you left home, when you left Beaverton, 16 years old, sophomore in high school, did you have a girlfriend or a girl you had a crush on?
I think I did, but
who?
I'm not sure.
Yes, do tell, Riley.
You're a high schooler. There's always one around that you kind of crushing on, I have to say. I mean, 16, that's a pretty young age, and you got your eyes open. But I can't think of anyone specific. I didn't have a specific girlfriend. I did know that. I did know that. But there's probably some crushing happening. I mean, you're a 16-year-old in high school. So
Allie's going to want the details after this call. I'm just letting you know now.
Was Allie crushing on anyone? Was that going on over there? She was in 5th grade, so probably not. No.
Okay, well, that's cool. So I'd love to know, guys, what are some of the most memorable places that you visited? Australia is somewhere that I definitely want to go. That's high on my list. But what are some of the places that were really beautiful or exciting or even scary for you guys?
How about you, Allie? What do you think?
Well, the two main places that I think are cool families today was
Cambodia
and Peru.
And Peru were the top two.
Really?
Yeah, I think of the whole family of that.
Allie's speaking for the whole family. I think together we loved Cambodia and Peru for two different reasons. And so
that is interesting. Your mom, Allie, did mention Cambodia, and that was a surprise to me. I haven't been, but that's not really the place that I thought would stand out. So yes, your parents are definitely on board with Cambodia. So okay, I want to hear about both places. Let's talk about Cambodia first. Why was it so surprisingly enjoyable for you guys?
I think a lot of the places, yes, they were absolutely beautiful. Cambodia had white sand beaches and beautiful blue oceans. I was going scuba diving just about every day, so I was in paradise, yes. But I think what really made the place so incredible for all of us was the people we were meeting along the way. And we just so happened to be, I was eavesdropping yesterday, and I think I heard them mentioning the island of Koh Rong, where we were able to connect with a group of individuals from around the world that were traveling together. And we got to spend about a week on this island of Koh Rong together, just truly exploring the island, having fun, getting to know one another. And it's the most surreal experience. This is what I actually really miss the most about traveling. When you're sitting down for dinner and you're looking around the dinner table and you're seeing people from an individual from Morocco, you see another individual from South Africa, you're seeing another individual from Brazil, from Germany. You're just seeing this group of people which you would never expect to be sitting and sharing a meal, all having a similar conversation and passion about travel. And it was those experiences day after day for that full week that just kind of fulfilled me and made me just truly say, wow, this is an incredible place, circumstantially, just because of the people I'm surrounded by. And that was consistent throughout the whole trip as well. And so that's why, in my mind, to be honest, while I was on that island, I forgot what time it was. I didn't know what day it was. I didn't care. It was beautiful. It was undescribable, to be totally honest with you. And I just can't wait to settle back into that vibe again, to be totally honest.
You're just trying to get me to travel, young man, and it's working.
I'm poking, man. I'm poking.
Oh, that's great. Was Peru a similar thing, or were there different things that stood out for you in Peru?
Well, Peru, yes, absolutely. In the city of Cusco, we were staying with a friend of a friend who owned a hostel called Casa de la Gringa, House of the White People. It's funny. And she was from South Africa, actually, and her family was running the whole entire hostel. So not only seeing that lifestyle of this is how a family is living, running a hostel in Cusco, Peru, and they're from South Africa, but also to see the individuals that were attracted into this hostel just because of the energy in which the hostel held. And also on top of it, the energy of the city of Cusco it was fantastic. One of the most gorgeous cities I've ever been to in my life. And some of the nicest people, Peruvians, they're incredible. And
very short.
And very short, as Alex likes to point out. She was towering over the Peruvians.
No, that's great. That's great because I visited Hawaii for my honeymoon a few years ago, and I'm not very tall. I'm 5'6". Okay, I'm 5'6" with shoes on. All right, fine.
That's average.
Maybe that's average in Peru, but in Hawaii, I felt tall because there were a lot of Japanese tourists. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it for the first day or two. I was like, man, I'm feeling, I feel like a basketball player around here.
Yeah.
It's all the Japanese tourists. So if Hawaii was that good, I really want to go to Japan so I can just really feel good about it.
You can just tower over everyone.
So I know how you feel, Allie.
Absolutely.
Did you guys pick up any of the local languages, like in Peru or some of these other countries? How was that for you? Was speaking English a problem?
So, to be honest, I think the place in which I picked up the most amount of language was we were fortunate enough to spend a month in Turkey, and there we were teaching English. And Allie and I, we were staying with a Turkish family, and our interpreter for that family was the 10-year-old son.
Love it.
And so you could imagine there was it was at first hard time communicating, but eventually through them learning a little bit of English, but to be honest, we learned quite a bit of Turkish as well, which it was fortunate enough to have that circumstance. I could speak conversational Turkish, and I was going out with some of the kids at night, I mean, nothing too advanced, but I could hold a conversation with any random Turkish stranger on the street. Surprisingly enough, surprised me too. I wish I could still say that now, but I guess I'll have to make another trip. And so yeah, I think it was because we chose to immerse ourselves in cultures and volunteer, like teaching English in Turkey, we were able to be exposed in the learning curve in which the languages in which we achieved speaking the languages was exponential and a lot easier, to be totally honest, because it was a lot more natural and organic instead of forcing it in terms of like a course or something, you know. And so it was almost even a necessity, you know, if I had to figure out where to go to the bathroom, definitely should know what words to say.
That's great.
But I'd have to say Allie, out of all of us, was the best at communicating with everyone around the world. I don't know if my parents went into it a little bit, but they just kind of, touching on Allison's always kind of had a hard time communicating in the most efficient manner, but she's fantastic at charades and finds so many incredible ways to communicate and connect on so many different levels. And so,
oh, that's so good.
When we were having a hard time, Allison would push us inside and say, "Step aside, guys. I know what I'm doing here." And then she'd find out where the nearest hostel was or the closest tuk-tuk. And she took care of us, man.
Go, Allie. Well done. That's really cool. That is really cool, kiddo. Nice job. So this is fantastic, and I'm loving. I feel like I'm there with you guys in Peru and in Cambodia and goodness, in Turkey. Speaking of people in conversational Turkish,
yeah.
That's amazing. So you've both experienced different types of education. Riley, you've been in the public school. Allie, you've done some homeschooling, some school, but then you had this 9-month period where a lot of your learning was not in a classroom. It was interacting with people in different cultures. Looking back, what do you think that sort of education, what kind of impact do you think it has had on you as people?
Well, I speak about this all the time. This is something I'm actually very, very passionate about because prior to the trip, I didn't really consider myself a student or a learner, if you will, because I kind of had this look on formal education. I was a little bit of a troublemaker in high school. My freshman sophomore year, Allison will fully endorse that. I loved pushing things. I loved exploring and seeing what I could impact, and it wasn't to my benefit prior to the trip. And when I was disrespecting that public school system or the formal education system, so they weren't respecting what I was producing as well. So when I put my heart into something, it wasn't really taken in the same way, and it stemmed from me ultimately because I wasn't respecting the system that I was in. And so it was just kind of this loop of, friction, if you will, that never really was resolved until I kind of brought myself, because the system wasn't going to change and I needed to figure out, where I fit in. And so while I was traveling, I was taking online courses, and what really started clicking for me, and you spoke about speaking with individuals while traveling, I was taking a comparative theology course. And so as I was traveling through Southeast Asia, I was on Bali, which is a majority Hindu, and then I was on Java, which is a majority Islam, and then I went to Thailand, with majority Buddhist, over to Israel, you have Christianity, Judaism, Islam. And so while I was taking this linear course online, jumping through the gates I needed to get through in order to get my formal credit, I was applying all of this knowledge and this application to the conversations I was having with individuals, to the temples we were visiting, to the monasteries we were going to. I was taking an astrology course when we were backpacking across the Sahara. We took a camel trek out across the Sahara.
No way.
We were staying in a Berber village, and I remember it to this day. It was the most liberating thing for me to look up in the sky, and the stars, by the way, in Morocco were absolutely unbelievable, beyond words. But I could look up in the sky, and I could point out constellations, and I could tell you stories about those constellations. And so it wasn't until I saw my education applied, and I started seeing myself as a student of life. I started seeing myself as a lifelong learner, and that ignited my passion to just really start finding my relevance in every experience I have. And so I call it experiential education, and I think that's where education's headed now is, putting yourself out there in the world, experiencing the world, how it is, instead of being told how it is, And so that's what really shifted for me. And I came back and I actually went to my public school senior year and approached it in a completely different manner. And I have to say that the teachers saw that, the students around me saw that, my friends saw that, and I just really milked my last year of high school and dove into every experience I could because I saw the potential in every experience, really, that it could be a learning experience. And so that for me is what shifted, I have to say, in terms of education.
Wow.
Yeah, and I know Allie's always been doing it. She's always been just good at bridging the gap between application and education. And so it took me a bit. It took me a 9-month trip around the world to figure it out. Allie got flown with it prior to that anyway.
It takes us guys a little bit longer, Allie. When you get older and you start dating, you'll realize sometimes the guys are a few years behind, but we get there eventually. We get there.
Absolutely. Just put a backpack on us and send us around.
There you are.
We'll figure it out.
There you are. Yeah, this is really, really phenomenal. And Allie's experience, your experience in terms of finding ways to bridge that language gap that the family often had with your abilities, that's really inspiring. And it just shows that, goodness, we all have superpowers, basically. We can all really do wonderful, wonderful things. And sometimes it just takes the right experience or being in the right environment to really bring that out for us. So I know that you guys have both had the opportunity to speak to other families and other kids in particular about traveling. Do you guys enjoy, what's the speaking experience like? What's it like sharing your story with other folks?
Do you wanna share? Okay. I think what we really love doing, and the last thing that we want to do when we're up on stage, conversing with families as well, and even just like on a conversational basis, we want to just keep it as informal as possible. We want people to feel comfortable to ask questions, and because that's exactly what prompted us to take the trip. We were asking questions. We were curious, and I think that's a really big motivator for us. It's just pure curiosity, and that's what we want to invite other families to start doing too, is start questioning the what-ifs of life. And when they have individuals who have done it just like us, and we've ran across individuals who are doing things that we want to aspire to do as well, we ask questions, really, because we're just genuinely curious. And through asking the right questions, you put yourself in the right scenario, give yourself the right mindset to start taking action upon those questions and those curiosities. And so I guess that's just letting the conversation flow wherever it needs to flow when we're having those conversations with families. That's just holding space for that. That's what we go for. So
really good. You guys you were 11 and 16 when you took the trip. You are now 14 and 19. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Yep, 14 and 19.
Okay, got it. So the folks that I usually hang out with are parents, and they have kids ranging from, like in my case, young kids to kids that are teenagers. Now, most of us, people listening, haven't been teenagers for a while. Okay, so things have changed a little bit since we were in your shoes. We want to know, though, if you guys can kind of give us some insight into what's important, at least from your perspective, what's important to young adults these days? What are their priorities? What are they worried about? What makes them tick? What motivates them? I wonder if you could maybe talk a little bit about some of the things that you observe either in your life or with your friends that are important right now.
Yeah, that's a big question, huge question for sure.
Yeah.
I'll try to cover it as best as I can. Unless Allie, you have some insight.
I have no idea.
Allie has
No idea. Okay.
Well,
no, we're okay. Now, Riley, jump on in, and then I bet Allie will get some ideas as you're talking.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's the process. Is figuring out what is important to you. And realizing that there's things out there, it's not really a one-size-fits-all glove, and there's so much opportunity now. And I think we're seeing so many young individuals capitalizing on those opportunities and capitalizing on their passions and really taking hold of what they can accomplish in this world through the tools that are coming to use now, just through technologies, just through connecting people a lot more efficiently. I mean, we're having a podcast right now, that's on the West Coast to the East Coast. I don't think you could have imagined that when you were younger. Yeah. And so there's just so much potential out there for collaboration and creation. I think there's so many kids who have passions in which they want to express them. Yeah. But unfortunately, some systems that they may be in aren't really supporting or condoning those explorations. And so I think it just stems back to every kid just really needs to find their relevance and what really drives them and motivates them most. And there's so many different passions out there. There's so many different tools out there that really, I mean, you can do just about anything nowadays. And seeing what kids are doing with these tools they're giving in ways that the tools weren't even meant to be used for, but they're finding new and repurposed ways of doing so. I think it just speaks to the potential of the kids and the youth that are out there that are creating, having fun doing that as well, creating the lives that they want to live. And so I guess I can't think of any specific insight that I could provide other than we're all in a process of figuring out what we love doing and just supporting and condoning that. Condoning not the I don't know in terms of directionless, but the I don't know in terms of driven. I don't know where I'm going to go, but I'm passionate about this. I'm driven towards something. So I'm going to dive into this fully and with all that I am. And I think there's a lot of kids that are exploring that and truly, truly loving it. And I have to say, that's what I'm trying to hold attention to. And I think I can speak for Allison as well, just diving in and booking that one-way ticket to Sydney, Australia, and not knowing it's going to show up. Just be open to conversation. And so that's off the top of my head what I immediately go to. How about you? Anything like that for you, Alan?
I am also so when things that I approve is friends.
Right.
And cliques. I feel okay.
Friends and cliques, yeah.
Yeah. That is so when
yeah, it's a big, I mean, because you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And so, I think friends and cliques, like you say, it's a big deal because if you're surrounding yourself with someone who's not as motivated towards doing a specific something, then you're going to kind of fall down that road as well. And so I think expressing yourself and putting yourself out there in the most genuine way, you're going to attract the people around you, and those 5 people are then going to elevate your potential, Right. And so, and I think, and I don't want to speak for you, but I've heard a consistent consensus from adults is that the kids that they were surrounding themselves in high school and college and middle school kind of determined their aptitude. You know what I mean? And totally. And so I think with Allison being in middle school, that's a big factor in your life, right? The people you surround yourself with. Yeah. And so. Yeah.
Very interesting. When I was growing up and when a lot of the parents were growing up, there certainly wasn't social media. There wasn't even the internet. And I think a lot of parents are scared not necessarily by social media, but by the fact that the internet remembers everything. Right? If I had social media when I was growing up, all of my mistakes would be documented somewhere. And I think a lot of parents, they want their kids to explore, but they're afraid that their kids are going to make mistakes that they won't be able to recover from. So, there's Snapchat, there's Yik Yak, there's Instagram, Facebook, and all these other platforms, and everything you post on there is just on there forever. So I wonder what your opinion is on teenagers and social media.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. And then you have the bullying that's taking place as well, and I think that's just kids not truly and fully being able to really kind of express themselves in the best way. possible, unfortunately. And it's totally, everything's out there and it's going to remain out there. It's a massive problem. I haven't really even, considered or wrapped my mind around yet, but I think it just stems back to finding, the kids' relevance and what do they want to invest themselves in and the people they surround themselves with, because that's what they're going to create and that's what they're going to produce and put out in the world. It's all environment in the way I see it. And that's what cultivated the environment of traveling and being curious, cultivated this mindset that I have now.
Right.
And so it's the same thing. Just surround yourself with the right people, with the right places, and whatever you produce, just be proud of it. And everyone does make mistakes, absolutely. And unfortunately, they are going to be out there. But I think owning those mistakes and then not going back to them, if you know what I mean, and saying that was something I learned from, and I'm no longer going to touch upon because it doesn't serve me. And so I think maybe holding that mindset,
Are you guys sure you're teenagers? This is a little too much wisdom for me. Jody and John, is that you? I'm just kidding.
Their voice is over for us.
I know, right? No, this is really, really good stuff. I actually have often said that the friends I had in elementary school and middle school, our equivalent of middle school in Nigeria, I still have a lot of those friends today. And when we hit our teenage years, we did get into some trouble. We explored. We pushed boundaries a little bit. But the trouble that we got in was tame compared to what a lot of the other kids were doing. And these kids were all, in my case, the kids I hung out with, they were all people whose parents hung out with my parents in college. So we all had similar family values, and I think that really helped us support each other in a positive way. So I really, really agree with both of you that the friends that you have can really have an impact on the decisions you make.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so Allison, Riley, both of you guys are doing some really cool stuff now. I understand you're both entrepreneurs. Yeah. I love that because this show is all about entrepreneurship.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd love to hear a little bit about what kind of passions you have and what kind of businesses you're growing.
Absolutely. Allie, do you want to tell about your style? Because you wrote a book a while back, I want to say, about helping girls find their style.
Allie's written a book.
Yeah, my grandma helped me with the book. And
she helped you, yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So I found for 12 to 14.
12 to 14-year-old, yeah.
Yeah. I thought it's four different styles.
4 different styles for them.
So
Nice.
I
Remember which ones, yeah. Classic style. There was a punk, right?
Yeah.
There's a punk style.
Nice.
And hip hop.
Yeah.
It's
Funky and hip hop and
yeah,
well, you had all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, but now I try to branch out to older people that want to
Now she's going for the older people.
That's good.
that want to look and kind of
Look younger and have a little skip in their step.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Feel good about what they're wearing. Very
that's
cool.
what I try to.
Well, I have to say something about Allison as well, is that she hops between so many different passions. I mean, she's an equestrian now. She can ride a horse like nobody's business. It's unbelievable.
What?
She's weaving for a while. She's always doing home projects and whatnot. And so she's finding her relevant. She's finding and experiencing and finding what makes her feel and love to do. And then eventually, if monetization does come into play later, then absolutely. But I think it all comes down to helping people find their own vibe. And I think that's what the styling was about.
Yeah.
You know, it's helping someone feel comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah.
And feel like they can, you know.
Yeah. And can be themselves and have fun.
They can be themselves and have fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's so important. And it's really important for that initial audience that you were targeting, Allie, the 12 to 14-year-old girls. Really, 12 to 14-year-olds, period. I remember being that age and being very, very self-conscious about my appearance. Was I wearing the right thing? How did I look? This, that, and the other. And I suspect that most adults went through that phase as well. So being able to help these girls identify their own style, whether it's hip-hop or funky or classic or punk, that's fantastic. You really must have helped a lot of young ladies. And I mentioned to Allie before we got on the call that my wife is if she doesn't get me dressed, I'm wearing flip-flops and ripped shorts. So I'm still looking for my signature look, Allie, so you might need to help me out a little bit, but well, maybe we could do a consultation after the call. But I might have to take you.
Yeah, totally.
That would be really great. That would be really great. I love that. I love that fashion. And I also love that she wrote a book about it. So Riley mentions you have other passions as well. Maybe we'll get to check back in with you guys a little later on, maybe next year, and we can find out how Allie's businesses are growing.
Absolutely. That'd be exciting.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, Riley, are you doing fashion as well?
Am I doing fashion as well? I wish I was that good. I trust me, I walk in Allie's room every day and say, hey, does this look all right? So I'm in the same boat as you, Balaji. No worries.
So what kind of business really has your interest right now?
Well, ultimately, I love just really connecting with people, and all of the businesses that I build are an excuse to do that. The first one I think I was telling you a little bit about on the call prior was I was living down in San Francisco last year, and I founded a financial education corporation for millennials, and that specifically was going to be helping not only break down the jargon of the finance industry, but help kids kind of reallocate their assets and pay off their loans accordingly. And then after they get those loans paid off, know where to put their money and feel confident navigating the financial world accordingly, and really, place their money in the respective places that are going to help their money grow and have longevity. All the above. Really just breaking down jargon and helping kids feel confident wherever they are. Because there is a lot in many different industries. There is a lot of that terminology, if you will, that kind of makes us feel a little bit antsy about stepping into it.
Right.
A little intimidated is a better word. And so we're working on breaking that down. I stepped away from that for different circumstances. Just wasn't really aligned with the lifestyle I wanted to be living. Fantastic product, fantastic team. They're doing incredible now to this day. But my ultimate passion was travel and connecting with others, and that was going to keep me locked down in San Francisco for a number of years, and so that wasn't really what I wanted to do, but I'm really excited to see where that goes. Now I'm back up in Portland working with startups in the travel industry specifically, doing strategy and consulting for them in the marketing space. And so first of all, helping them out with their social media, but then also helping them establish key partnerships for holistic benefit. So not only helping and supporting the marketing side of things, tapping into each other's audiences, but also supporting the service or product that they provide. And so finding two different companies that may be in different industries, but have complementary services or products that can support one another and that both audiences would be interested in and elevate each other to the next level. Because that's what I think true connection's about nowadays is, not one person taking from the other, but two wholes meeting in the middle and elevating everyone that's involved to the next level. And so that's what I love facilitating and setting up, if you will. And I'm in the hometown of Portland, and I love this town. So it feels good to be back up here in the Northwest.
Yeah, I continue to hear really good things about Portland. I've never been to the Northwest before. I've been to California. That's, and Vegas.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I haven't done too much in the West Coast. So I'll have to move up north, pay a visit to where you guys are, because I hear great things about Portland.
Oh, man, we got a place to stay, I have to say.
Yeah. Also up here.
Absolutely.
That's great. I appreciate that, guys. This is really, really cool. I'm very excited to continue to follow what you guys are doing. Allie, we got to talk a little bit before the call, and I know you're going to be working on some sort of website so us old guys can come check out what you're doing with the fashion. You're going to have some fashion tips for old guys.
Yeah.
And call it that, too. We're not going to mind at all.
Fashion tips for old guys.
Fashion tips for old guys. I would definitely buy that. And Riley, I love how you've pivoted, and you're taking your passion and really adding and creating a lot of business value, linking key business partners and looking across industries potentially to link audiences and businesses. That's really, really innovative stuff. So kudos to you on that.
I appreciate it. It's fun. To be honest, it's all fun. Just meeting people, man.
That's fantastic. So when is your next trip? When are you guys hitting the road next?
So I don't know if my parents mentioned a little bit of this, but Allie, my mom, and my dad, they're headed to the Dominican Republic in December to go scout out the courage journeys that they're taking these families on.
Fun.
And so, unfortunately, I'm not going to make it on that round. Fortunately, but unfortunately, I connected with a startup here out of Portland, and they're sending me over to Southeast Asia, where I'm going to be doing some market validation studies with the backpackers over there. Again, excuse to connect to people, talk to people, and come up with cool marketing ideas so we can get this cool product they're creating in their hands.
Wait. Hang on, Riley.
Yeah.
Hang on, Riley. Why'd you say that like I would say it to my wife? Hey babe, I'm going down the street to get some groceries. He said, yeah, I'm going to Southeast Asia, Just
Yeah.
Come on, that's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Wow. What countries or country will you be going to?
So probably just Thailand for the formal trip, but the back end, I'm thinking about actually extending the trip maybe another month or month and a half or so, and I really want to go down to Malaysia and then maybe hop over to the Philippines as well. I have a friend over there that I could go stay with, and so I'll take any excuse I can for free lodging and a spot on a beach.
Oh, that's sweet.
Absolutely.
That's sweet.
Absolutely.
I hope you get to capture a lot of video.
Oh yeah, a lot of media and content coming from that for sure. Very, very cool. And I'll be sending them back to the States. But I want to say February we're having our formal courage journey, and so April and March.
Yeah.
See, Allie's got the dates down.
I just need to talk to Al.
Yeah, you should just be talking to Allie the whole time. You should go get a glass of water.
Sheesh. So we're looking at April for the courage journey to the Dominican Republic.
Yep.
Another place you've never been to before. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long is this trip going to be? How many days?
How many days? It's going to be about 4 families for a week.
For a week, so
Yeah.
I don't know all the details, but we will have 4 families and
Okay. Families for a
for
week.
a week, and then we're probably going to be there for a month
Probably be there for a month.
or 2.
A month or 2, and have kind of families filtering through. So we'll have to be,
I see.
when you asked that question, I looked right at Allison because I know she has you.
Allison is on it. That is cool. And your mom had mentioned, Jody mentioned that there's a minimum age for the kids and the families. I'm asking for the folks listening that might be interested in learning more. So how old do the kids have to be?
I think it has to be 10.
Have to be 10 years old.
Yeah,
Okay.
10, 12, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, I think, and it's not only the age has to do with them being able to carry their own backpacks. Obviously, we don't want the parents hauling around everything. The kids are hauling as well, but a majority of it, and I think what really spawned these courage journeys was while we were traveling, our dynamics as a family completely shifted. Just because of the experiences we had together, the volunteer opportunities, the tension we had in specific moments, and then the way in which we worked through those tensions. And so we wanted to bring that back, and what spawned these Cruise Journeys was sharing that with other families as well who are really looking for more than just a vacation, more than just a trip, something that's going to echo throughout them even being back in the States or wherever the world, in the world they're from, changing the dynamics of the family and helping them face problems accordingly and have it not be a problem when something is presented, because they know how to efficiently work through it. And I think that's what we learned as a family. And we're not afraid of facing a problem because we know we can chip away at it and it'll be no problem anymore. And so we were trying to share that with other families. And so the minimum age being 10 was just because we felt, I mean, that's where they're kind of starting to figure that out a little bit. And that's a big transition as well into teenage years. And as you know, and as Alice knows, I think we all know, that's huge for a kid. And that's a big transition. And so kind of maybe establishing these conversations prior to those tensions approaching a family would be uber beneficial for the kids that are participating. So a little bit more of an emotional maturity as well, cognitive maturity, and then also carrying the bags is the reason that's in place. But it's all validation right now. We're really kind of doing our beta trips, and we're going to see how it works out, and we're going to adjust accordingly. And we can't wait to see who it impacts and what families are benefiting from it. So yeah.
That is really, really exciting. My kids are a little too young right now, but we are going to be, your mom and dad mentioned that you have a few courses to help families start thinking through how to plan their first trip, whether it's a week or a month or longer. I might want to do a week or a couple of weeks with my kids, so we're going to see if we can pull something off in the next year or so.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And, again, I think tapping back on the previous subject we were talking about earlier, it doesn't have to be this spontaneous, all right, everyone pack everything up, let's go, we're leaving, you know?
Throw a dart at the map.
Exactly. Yeah. This is where we're headed. I mean, it can be that spontaneous if that's what you need in your life, but, building towards that and kind of opening the conversation and for everyone to feel equally involved in the decision-making process, I think that supports whatever trip or whatever experience you guys are going to be subjecting yourselves to, because everyone has a little bit of ownership, and then on top of that, everyone they have a little bit of say in what's happening and what's going on, and it's a little bit more of a build as well towards the trip, and the excitement builds and the nervousness dissipates. And so, in my opinion, that's the way I've seen. That's why I saw it.
Yeah. I have to warn you, if it's up to my 5-year-old, we'll be going to the moon, and he thinks it's made of cheese.
Oh, so sweet.
I don't know how much we want to go with his input, but I'll trust you on this. You guys are the experts.
Absolutely. If you do go to a moon made of cheese, please let me know. And sign me. I'll take the next ticket up there with you guys. Please.
You'll be the first I let know. All right, we're about to let Riley and Allison go, but before they do, you know we can't let them go without going through the lightning round. Okay, guys, are you ready for the lightning round?
I don't know if we're ready for the lightning round, but let's bring it on.
No one can be ready. There's no way to be ready for the lightning round. We're just going to throw you in, okay? We're throwing you in.
Bring it on.
Let's go. Let's do it. Okay, Allie, Riley, number 1. Favorite superhero. Go.
Ooh. I've always been... Go ahead, Allie. I've always been partial to the Flash, I have to say.
The Flash for Riley. All right, I can see that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Run back in time every so often, check out the dinosaurs. I think that was in an episode. How about you, Allie?
Superman.
Superman? Or Superman or Superwoman?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Always been drawn to. Absolutely.
I like it.
Allie's pretty strong, to be totally honest, so I can see that.
I like it.
And they can fly, that is true.
Especially for a traveler, that is a very handy talent. You don't have to pay for checked luggage or anything. So that's good. All right, what about your favorite cartoon? Favorite cartoon?
Favorite cartoon? Who?
The blue people.
Oh, the little Smurfs.
Yeah.
Allie's a Smurf fan.
What do you know about the Smurfs? I grew up on the Smurfs, Allie. Come on. I love the Smurfs.
Yeah, but I will when it was hot network.
Allie was fortunate enough to watch Cartoon Network in the morning because they'd play the throwbacks every so often.
That's great. That's great. That's a classic. Okay, nice choice. How about you, Riley?
I grew up on, Tom and Jerry are my go-tos. Because they were always getting into trouble, but at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, they wanted to hurt each other, but there was this, like, camaraderie that always happened and was consistent through their shenanigans.
I know. Tom and Jerry is so violent.
Right? Really, but at the end of the day, I feel like they were just like, whatever. Friends.
Yeah, we watch that, no joke, every single morning. My 5-year-old is addicted to Tom and Jerry. That's a great choice. Okay, do you guys have a favorite family tradition?
Favorite family tradition?
Yeah.
Can you think of anything specific?
Well, besides this on Christmas morning, our mom, what is bread?
Oh, Mom makes some killer monkey bread on Christmas morning.
Goodness. I need to come hang out with y'all at Christmas.
Yeah.
I think it's the one thing that gets us up early in the morning, to be told. We smell the monkey bread, and we're flying down the stairs.
Way to go, Mom.
Yeah. It's so sugar.
So Allie's so much sugar.
I know it.
That's great. That's great. What's yours, Riley? Favorite family tradition?
Favorite family tradition? Oh my gosh, I gotta think. We, every so often, we do go golfing together every so often, which is a kick. You know what? No, to be honest, we have the local mountain here is Mount Hood, and so every so often we have a cabin in Brightwood where we can just pretty much go and seclude ourselves away from the rest of the world, have a little time to decompress, and go on hikes. And so I think just getting out into nature together as a family is something that kind of keeps us together, keeps us sane and connected.
We still go up to our cabin every Christmas break.
Yeah, we used to go up every Christmas break.
And we used to wake up at 4 a.m. Get ready, put on our
all the ski stuff on. Go skiing and snowboarding all day. And get in the hot tub at the end of the day. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yeah. That
is classic. I love that. Y'all have some fun family traditions. I've never been skiing before. I almost want to say I'm too old to learn, but I know you guys will tell me that's not the case.
Especially since we have a pair of skis for you waiting over here.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Well, listen, if I try and I get a hangnail, I'm coming to get you, Alex.
It's on you, Alex.
All right, folks, I'm going to let these amazing young adults go. We've been listening to Allison and Riley of thecouragevibe.com. These folks are amazing. This has been a lot of fun. They've inspired me to get off my butt and get this family traveling, or at least talking about it. And once again, if we end up going to the moon, it's on you, Allie. You guys can learn more about their family, their adventures, and what they're doing next at thecouragevibe.com, thecouragevibe.com. Allie, Riley, this has been a real pleasure. Thank you.
Balaji, thank you so much for having us.
All right, folks, until next time, this is the Bravepreneur Parents Academy. Up, up, and away!
Thanks for supporting my dad's show. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to iTunes. He said hot chocolate is for closers. If you don't subscribe, I don't get hot chocolate. I love hot chocolate.
Fear not. Although this chapter of Bravepreneur Parents Academy has come to its conclusion, we have many more adventures for you and your brave little heroes. Head over to bravequest.me for access to the Brave Quest Journal, an interactive activity playbook that rewards your little ones with points for accomplishing tasks that build character and unleash your child's inner superhero all before bedtime. We look forward to having you join us for more adventures next time on Bravepreneur Parents Academy.